everyone, it's Cheryl. Ooh, welcome back to Heirloom Afternoon. It is Tuesday, it's noon Central Time, and that means it's time for Heirloom Afternoon. Welcome. So much has happened since the last time I was here, and oh my gosh, we moved. From the Chicago area to Paducah, Kentucky, and we bought a building. Ta-da! This here is the building that we did buy, and it's here in downtown Paducah, Kentucky. So from the front door of our building, you can look across the parking lot and see the National Quilt Museum. So that is how close we are to the National Quilt Museum. You can walk just right across the parking lot and you are there, which is really exciting. And so what does this mean? We moved our whole family. We sold our house in Chicago, and we bought the building, and we are going to live in the 2 floors above. And I am filming right now to you from the main floor, which is where we are going to be having our business. Yay! Okay, so lots to unpack here. Because when I filmed last, which was episode 19, I was just about to release a new product, and then we went off the air. And so this is the reason why we bought this amazing historic building in downtown Paducah. So this is really cool. We're really excited about it, and the building has a lot of history to it. And if you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook, then you probably have been given some behind the scenes tours of some of the floors in the building. The top floor is really cool and has not been basically touched or updated since probably the 1930s. So for me, who I'm super excited about everything historic and everything heirloom, I feel like I have truly kind of come home to this new building, and it's new to me. The 3rd floor is really kind of incredible. It's basically been left alone since the 1930s, and there are still knob and tube electrical wires and what appears to be a bunch of things for the for what used to be either a cafe or a speakeasy. And we're still doing a lot of research with the city, and we're of course super thrilled to be part of the fabric of Paducah. Raven, it is such an amazing building. I can't wait to see it all put together. Me either. It is an incredible building. And anyway, and if you're a history, even slightly interested in history, these buildings like this, they have so much potential, and I am really excited to see what's going to happen. Now, a lot of people are asking us what is our plan for the bottom floor, and we have already set up and established our video studio here. So you are seeing the video studio on the main floor. So that's there on the bottom floor. Also on the bottom floor is there's 2 offices. One is here. This is the video studio, and I'll show you the new set in a moment. But also there's another office, and that office is our shipping studio, our shipping room, our inventory room. And that leaves the front part of the building, which my husband calls the front of house from all of his years in doing restaurant work. So that front of house is eventually going to be a retail space, and I'm very excited about it. It's not open yet, so those of you that are like, I can't wait to come visit you, I can't wait for you to visit either. However, there isn't anything here to visit yet, so it's coming, and we're just so excited to be here. Now, I will say that the building on the next to us here, that's a lawyer's office, but the other building, the one on the right, that one is available. So if you want to be our neighbor, you can do that. So that is what's going on. And you're probably seeing our brand new set. So this is the new Heirloom afternoon set. The very cool thing about this building is that we have the ability to have a permanent set for Heirloom afternoon. If you at all watched any of our previous episodes, we had to basically like cover up what was already existing there and hide the fact that we were just reusing one of our sets as the new set. It's kind of a goofy thing, but anyway, we don't have to do that here. We get to set the set permanently, which is really cool. So basically, Jerry's saying, you're saying, wait until next week to come visit me. Yeah, no. I would love for you all to visit me. And of course, I do have an occupancy permit. I can have 12 of you in my office at one time. But it is not set up at all like a shop yet. But not next week either. We have hired an architect to help with the construction of our upper floors. I'm pointing upwards because that's where they are from here. And those upper floors, they are going to require somebody who kind of knows what they're doing when it comes to that construction and so on. And we're learning a lot about this whole process because this building, as you can see, being in this historic district, has we are on the National Register of Historic Places, and our whole street and all of the streets surrounding us are all on the National Register of Historic Places. So this is there's a lot of rules that come with that, and you need someone who's going to navigate that. We have a great architect who is going to help us plan out our second and third floors. If you want to see what they look like right now, if you head to our Facebook page or our Instagram, once the video's over, you'll be able to get secret backstage tours of what's going on in those spaces. Yeah, so we have occupancy for the first floor, but the second and third floor, they are not built out as residents yet. And there's a lot of rules that apply when you are doing that. If you are doing a historic renovation or doing any kind of renovation to a building in a historic district, trust me, I'm learning I'm learning so much about how cool that really is. So Right down the street from us. So if you go that way on our street, there is the Paducah Antique Mall. And that, my friends, is where I got this wonderful little shelf. And this was just serendipity by going into the antique store. Went in there to introduce myself and say hello to the owner and everything, because all of our buildings are connected, and technically our building backs up to her buildings in a way. Her building's really long, our building's really short, and they kind of crisscross in the back. Anyway, being an antique mall, there's lots of dealers in there. And one of the things you will love about Paducah, and one of the things I love about Paducah, is that it has a strong quilting and sewing history. There's, of course, the American Quilter Society is based here. This is where their home offices are. So if you're an AQS member or you have been to an AQS show, they are based here in Paducah, Kentucky. And so that was a really, one of the big reasons that we decided to come here was, one, our building does look across that parking lot to the National Quilt Museum. So you can basically see our building from the front door of the museum, which is really awesome. So if you're visiting the museum, obviously our our eventual retail space will be visible right there. And so that was really cool. The other thing is that there's a bunch of other sewing and quilting related businesses here. There's Paper Pieces. So if you don't know who Paper Pieces are, they are an English paper piecing paper company that specializes in English paper piecing pieces. So they're based here in Paducah. There's, of course, Hancock's of Paducah, which is a world famous quilt shop, one of the largest quilt shops, fabric stores for quilting in the United States. And so that is also based here in Paducah, Kentucky. And there is a wonderful quilt shop. And also a lot of other businesses here. Ephemera Paducah, which is a sort of a mixed media space. There's other quilters and quilt artists and fabric artists here in Paducah. And the reason for that is because Paducah is listed as a UNESCO creative city. And there are only 14 of those in the United States. And so I am, they've done a really, really fantastic job of bringing artists and fabric artists and crafters and other people who use fiber in their work here to Paducah. And there's, of course, a lot of business opportunities. There's other buildings available in the downtown area. And I feel like this has been just the right, the right move for us. So I was in the Paducah the Paducah Antique Mall, and I was stopped in my tracks by this adorable little corner shelf. And if you can't tell, it is made out of wooden spools. And so this whole little shelf, this crafted shelf, is made of spools. And I got to tell you, I got it for, you are not going to believe how much I spent on this. It's so cheap. But it was perfect for Heirloom Afternoon because it was made out of wooden spools. And I'm just in love with it, and I think it's adorable. So welcome to the set. We have some of the things that we have had on previous set. Those things are here. Some of the things are a little bit out of the the range of the camera, but we do have my a Martha Washington cabinet here that's a little hard to see, and of course my Illinois sewing machine. This is an electric sewing machine made by the Illinois company, and they did have a company that made Illinois sewing machines, and this is one of them. It's in great condition. It does sew, and I'm pretty excited about that. A couple of my irons here on the set, and if you remember one of our last episodes we did, of course, I had my little this little pincushion doll that we made on one of the previous episodes. So if you haven't caught that episode, you can go check that out. These are a lot of fun to put together, and you can find the pincushion doll parts usually on eBay or in thrift shops or even in antique malls like the one next door. So the other thing I have to say about Paducah is that it does really embrace its sewing history, and it's very well known for the Quilt Week, which happens here as part of the American Quilter Society. They have a show here with huge show, and that is actually what I came here to Paducah for in April. So this whole thing happened from April until the middle of July, and that's how fast this whole thing happened. Now you're probably thinking like, well, Cheryl, you came to Paducah in April, at the end of April, and then next thing you know, you're buying a building. That seems really like a rash and sudden decision. And I have to say that it may look like it is. However, my husband and I had been looking at historic buildings in Illinois. So not too far from where we lived in Plainfield, there was a small main street that is very well known for a classic car show. And my father and I would always do these classic car shows. And we went to that classic car show, and there were several fabric stores on the street. So I always liked going to the classic car night because I could also shop for fabric. But we would go to the classic car shows, and there were buildings for sale on that street. And of course, the pandemic happened. And so during the pandemic, my husband and I would go get coffee, and we would sit out in front of these historic buildings and dream about what it would be like to live above our shop and business, which we would run out of the bottom. And we had finally settled on one particular building in Chicago. Well, it wasn't in Chicago. It was way, way, way out in the suburbs. It was this beautiful little town. And we finally settled on this building, and we had sat out in front of it so many times with a cup of coffee. And finally, we decided maybe we should put in a bid. Maybe we should get a tour. Maybe we should take this to the next level. And when I went to go do that, the building had listed that it was under contract, and it had finally sold. And I was devastated. And that's when I knew how deep into that dream or that idea I really was. And when that building sold, what I felt like was out from under me, even though I had no right to that building. I was really hurt. I was really sad. I really, really felt that. I was like, okay, maybe there's more to this idea. And then I forgot all about it. Not really, but I would still think about the building and the building that was. And then here in April, my friend and I go to Paducah and we come here to visit Quilt Week. Now, we were especially here to meet with friends, but we were also kind of scoping out whether or not we should vend at a future Paducah show. So we were here on business and we're driving down the street and we pull the car over and we're looking in the windows to these buildings, these two buildings next door to each other. And this building was for sale. And I said, I have to come back here. And so we drove home the next day. We go. So I'm back home with Charlie, and I said, Charlie, we need to go back to Paducah. I found a building and I want a tour. And I think this could be really amazing. And he, God bless him, he was like, okay. And we were back here. So that was, I came with my friend Amy on a Wednesday. And then on Friday, we were back getting a tour with an agent. And then on the drive home, we put in an offer on the building. So that is how it happened. And then there was this crazy bumpy ride to get to this point. And so we are here. We own it now. It's our building. We don't have a name for the building other than the building. We normally say like the building. We don't live here yet because it's not outfitted for a home. There's no residence here yet. So we actually live about 10 minutes away, and the building is the building. Like I can't I can't say enough. Now, what about the quilt? Why is that quilt back? That's because it is the only quilt that is here in the building right now. You may remember this quilt from an episode or two ago. This quilt is what we believe to be a memorial quilt that was made by the town or friends of this young man who passed away in an accident in Pekin, Illinois. And so this quilt, we believe, is a memento. There are two of them, and this is one of the two. And it is dated 1924. And so that quilt is making a special reappearance on the show because I have no other quilts with me here in the studio because all of my quilts are they're with my father right now. Like every single quilt I have is with my dad. Okay, so for those of you that don't remember, we launched a new product on the show in episode 19. Welcome to episode 20. And we did not actually list them on our website. So you're probably like, where did they go, Cheryl? Like, why did I? And the reason we didn't list them was because we were moving. And we had everything in storage, and now our business is back up and running. So you can visit the comments, the link to our new vintage tufting templates, which we have been using on this show in the last couple of episodes before we took our break. So these have been planned for a long time, but they are now actually here. And we do have them live and in person. They're here on the set. So the other thing that we have launched with this item is our new starter kit. So if you wanted to try tufting, but you are not a yarn person, you do not have the yarn, stuff, no worries. We've got you covered. You can get the hoop, the yarn, and the tapestry needles in our brand new starter kit. So I wanted to be able to give you the option to be able to start with these out of the gate and learn how to do this really cool, amazing this technique, which is not done anymore. This is one of those few things that I believe has really disappeared from our collective sewing consciousness. And the reason for that is because post World Wars, the crafting moved towards more using new materials, and this technique is a very thrifty and conservatory of your materials. It's a great way to use up leftover yarns and things like that. And quite frankly, I just saw, I showed this image on eBay, and let me pull that up because let me tell you, he was really surprised. It was a quilt. Let me see if I can pull this up. Oh yeah, here it is. It's amazing. So these are this is a quilt that is, I'm gonna pull this up and let me show my screen. I hope you are as excited about this as I am. So let's see. There we go. Share. Now it says, are you sure you want to share this? Yes, I do. All right, let's see. And of course, it's way hidden over here. Okay. All right. So there we go. Can you see this thing? This is amazing. Look at how much they want for this quilt. This Amish Tufted Stars quilt. Now, if you follow what we've been making here, okay, with these templates, right? These stars. This is how these were made. These tufted stars were made with templates like these. And this, of course, is vintage. It is believed to be like Victorian or whatever, but just go put in antique, Amish, tufted, and you'll find it. And you could also spend $3,600 on this quilt. My friends, it's amazing, and it's utterly fantastic. And like I said, I found this last night on eBay, just to show you that this is a very vintage technique that it feels like it has just disappeared from the sewing consciousness. Now, there were templates available like these. They were metal, and they were sold from like around the early 1900s to about 1930. And then when World War II breaks out, these techniques are pretty much lost. And the reasons for that were the wool shortages from the wars created, all the wool production went towards military use. And so it was harder and harder to thrift for fun when you needed that for your own clothing, for your, for the military or whatever. So this technique, this tufting technique, is by all, sense of the word is pretty much gone. So these are the templates. They are in stock right now. The link to them is in the comments. You can get them right now. You'll get the complete set, all of these right here. And I have all new fun things for my my cameras here, because we have to have 2 of everything because of the new set. But we've got these all in stock right now, and you can see that this particular template is about 5.5 inches across, from point to point. So that's going to give you a good sense of how big these stars will be, what kind of fabric square you're going to need. I would normally put this on like a 7 or an 8-inch square, and that would be a nice size, because remember, your yarn is going to bloom, as I like to call it. I like to have it bloom. And as it blooms, it's going to move out into this external area around the template. So that's not quite your finished size. Your finished size will probably need about 8 inches of room for your pieces of fabric before you, if you want to make a quilt like the one in the show, or on that in that page on the eBay. I have been addicted to eBay lately. My current obsession is salt cellars. Now, this is also another of the patterns that we released right before the shutdown. These are using all of our heirloom sewing techniques to make little pin cushions out of salt cellars. And that, I believe, was another episode of the show, so you can go back and check that out. But I have been so addicted to buying the little salt cellars because they're just so pretty. And again, these are kinds of things you can find in pretty much any antique store. Now, I like to find things in antique stores and turn them into sewing accessories, and that's why I've been rather addicted to finding these little salt cellars. Now, if you don't know what a salt cellar is, they're also called an open salt, and they were small accessories that you would have at your kitchen table or your other your dining table or whatever. And it would be filled with salt, and you could take a little pinch of salt and you could put it over your food. They also had little adorable spoons that you could use, lift, and sprinkle over your food. But aren't they? They are pretty much useless now, because we have salt shakers, right? So we have another way of doing this, and this is my new obsession, is turning them into little pin cushions. So, I always have one nearby, and I can, grab my little needle, put my keep it with my sewing stuff. It's small. It fits in my little sewing pouch, and I can move on and continue. So you get all these templates with the set. The set is $16, and they're brand spanking new, hot off the laser. They're laser cut mylar, and I'm excited that you'll be able to finally get these little guys. After all this time, it felt like we were not, we just disappeared, right? So we moved from one location to the other, and I will say all of my sewing materials are still in storage. My quilts are all with Dad. There's just so much going on. But can I tell you, I'm just so in love with the building. It's so great. Now there is a name at the top under there, if you can see it. There's a little name. It's hard to see in this photo, but it's Kirchhoff. And the Kirchhoff family is very well known in Paducah for their deli and their bakery. So there's a Kirchhoff Bakery right down the street from us. It would be that way. No, that way. It's that way. If you're heading down the street, you're going that way. Anyway, the Kirchhoff Bakery and the Kirchhoff family, they were very well known back then. The building, we believe, was built in 1900. We believe there was a speakeasy on the third floor. There was an elevator at one time. There's an elevator no more, but there is still an elevator shaft. All kinds of crazy stuff with this really cool, amazing building. And I am so excited because you guys get to come along on that adventure with us. So every episode here, we're going to start, once again, we're going to pull out some amazing old and vintage sewing tools, sewing products, things that you might not have heard of before, things that you may not know the history of, and we're going to bring them on the show, and we're going to actually try them out. That's what we do here on Heirloom Afternoon. We're here to try to demystify some of these older quilting, sewing, and other home and fabric care tools. And I'm very excited. We have several cool projects lined up for the next couple of episodes. I hope that you stick around and come along on this ride with us. And again, don't forget to continue to tune in here Tuesdays starting at 12 noon Central. That's when we start going live. And we have a brand new smocking book that is in stock right now. We are down to the last couple copies before we need to restock again. I think this is our third or fourth time getting our printing. So get your smocking book if you are interested in heirloom smocking. We did that amazing deep dive on Canadian smocking. So that is currently in the shop right now. You should not miss it. My friends, I hope that you have had a wonderful time. And I am going to say good afternoon to you and have a wonderful day. We will see all of you next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.